Hey, house guests. Welcome to today's Big Brother 27 updates and spoilers. I don't even know what's happening. I mean, I know what's happening and it's not good. I can't believe that these people are for real. Welcome to today's Big Brother 27 updates and spoilers. Lammy's here. Our house guests of the day. We have Diane Coyne, we have Michelle Aulette, and we have Tyler Campbell. Thank you all so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate you all so much. So thank you again. If you guys want to be house guests of the day, just send us an email to madrosed@gmail.com and we will get you on the list. Just make sure you put house guest of the day in the subject line so we can find it easily. Oh my God. We have some things to discuss. Even things from like the last hour. Where did they find these people? That's what I need to know. Where did they find these people? But when we left off yesterday, the votes were very much up in the air. Keanu, Vince, and Zach are all on the block, as we know. And all of the nominees were out on the campaign trail. And it seemed like things were shifting a bit because earlier in the week, it did appear, that Keanu would have been safe in any voting scenario. But things were shifting a bit. Keanu is not looking as safe as he was before. He could be in a lot of trouble if he does not win the blockbuster competition. It seems like the real turning point here was that Keanu is now like openly saying that he wants to work with Rachel, and she spilled that info to him about the Heavy Hitters Alliance. So the more that Mickey sees Keanu and Rachel getting closer, the more Mickey wants Keanu out. Because she can't have anybody getting close to Rachel. Rachel is now her sworn enemy. So also, Zach was making some headway. He was doing a lot of campaigning yesterday, really focusing on Morgan and Mickey. He was mapping out the whole rest of the game with them with the freaking M&Ms. Enough with the M&Ms. So they were really liking what he was putting down. So, all right, let's get into the new stuff. Mickey and Ava were chatting in the HOH room. And Mickey is now like openly campaigning for Keanu to go. Oh my God. So she's asking Ava to vote Keanu out if there is a tie situation. And she's pushing that Zach would be better for their for their games than Keanu would be. And Mickey is like trying to justify this, saying we have better social games than Zach does. And Ava looks very confused during this. She's like, in what world is my social game better than Zach's? Right? So Mickey's like, oh, well, it's better in a final two sense. So she's saying that they would beat Zach in a final two. Why are we even talking about this? It's week 5. We haven't even gotten to the jury yet. But Mickey is already thinking that she's going to beat Zach in the final two, and that's why he needs to stay. So Ava brings up that like half of the women in this house are in love with Zach. I mean, Morgan, Ashley, Lauren, they're all obsessed with him, right? And Mickey's like, yeah, I didn't really think about that. So if it is Vince versus Zach, she would rather keep Vince and get rid of Zach. If it's Zach versus Keanu, she wants to get rid of Keanu. I'm so sorry. And keep Zach. That was supposed to be kept in my mouth. But anyway, gross. If it's Vince versus Keanu, again, she wants Keanu to go. If Keanu's on that block, Mickey wants him out. She would like to keep both Vince and Zach. The devil's coming out of me because this season is sick. And not in the good way. Okay, so all right, we did all that. She is saying that Zach is not as strong of a competitor as Keanu. I mean, Keanu has proven he can win competitions. He's won multiple vetoes now. Zach won a competition on night 1, and that's pretty much it, right? He hasn't been great in the comps. So she's really trying to make the case here for Keanu to go. So after this conversation, Ava is alone, and she asks, what the F happened this week? How did we get here? That's a great question, Ava. She made a great move with, she made a power move with her nominations this week, but then she did no gaming the rest of this week to follow up. She did not want Keanu to be the one going. And now it's looking like that will happen unless he wins the blockbuster. So, yeah, she did a really, really poor job of carrying out the rest of her HOH week. And Ava says, I actually don't even know what's going on in this house. I mean, again, she like made her move, put up her nominees. Veto wasn't used, so she didn't have to do anything with that. But she just spent all of her time upstairs, like not hanging out with people, not talking game. So now she's completely lost going into this new week. Also, Ava's asking what the F were the M&Ms? Why were we doing this? I would like to know the same thing. We're tired of the M&Ms. But she says, Mickey just throws info at me, and I just get so tired that I say, okay, Mickey, that's not how you play this game. Like, that's terrible. We need Thursday night Ava back. Ava that we had last Thursday night. Like, this is disappointing me again. But she says, I don't even remember what Mickey said that I should do. Who am I voting to keep if it's a tie? And she's also saying now Mickey is not with Rachel anymore. But am I still with Rachel? I like Rachel. We get along. I'm going to need Ava to refocus and remember she's playing her own game here. And the game is Big Brother. And I'm going to need her to participate a bit more and get it together. All right. So a little later, Riley and Lauren are having a chat in the Have Not room. And Riley says, okay, if it's Keanu versus Vince up on the block, I want to keep Vince. He feels good about Vince. He feels like he can work with Vince. And he says, if it's Zach versus Keanu, I want to keep Zach because I really love him. Now, this contradicts everything else that I have heard Riley say this week about this vote. I'm pretty sure he's just saying this for Lauren's benefit because he knows that Lauren and Zach are quite close, right? Zach is like in love with Lauren. Lauren, I'm getting the vibe, doesn't feel quite the same way. I feel like given the choice between Zach and Vince, Lauren wants to keep Vince for sure. But Riley is saying like, oh, I want to keep Zach. But he says, I need to see what everybody else is doing because I don't want to be on the wrong side, right? So Lauren says, well, Keanu seems to think that he has the votes to stay over either nominee. But she says, I would probably vote for Keanu to leave against either nominee. What a surprise, right? She's working very closely with both Zach and Vince. So, of course, she wants both of them to stay this week. So Riley says he loves Keanu on a personal level, but Keanu's game is sloppy as hell. He's always getting caught up in stuff. Yeah, he's a mess. And a lot of times he means well, but like he's a mess. So Lauren says she just doesn't understand why anyone would want to keep Keanu. She says, I get that he's a shield and an easy renom for people, but at what point are we going to stop playing defense and start playing offense? I mean, you were HOH a few weeks ago, and she did try to take out Keanu, of course. Did she go about it in the right way? Probably not. You probably shouldn't have let him play in the veto competition if you really wanted him out. But also, she was too scared to make big moves. So I don't want to hear anything from Lauren about when are we going to play offense? Come on now. Also, I feel like how does she not see why anyone would want to keep Keanu? I get for her, it doesn't make sense to keep Keanu because, again, she's working very closely with both Zach and Vince. But, like, you really don't see why people would want to keep him? You would think more people would want to keep Keanu. Keanu, who struggles to hold allies, right? He's kind of out on an island by himself almost. And then you have Zach and Vince who are working in this huge alliance together. I mean, they've got stuff going with a bunch of people. They're very tight with both Morgan and Lauren and by extension Mickey. So why wouldn't you want to split them up if you're not in that immediate group? But these people don't seem to realize that. But Lauren says if Keanu stays and he's able to like ride this thing to the end, she says that is the perfect redemption story for him to win this whole thing. She says, hell, I would vote for him if he made it to the end, because that's amazing for him to be this huge target and then get all the way to the end. And Riley's like, well, I don't see Keanu as a threat. I don't know why everybody says he's a threat. He's only won vetoes. He hasn't won HOH or anything else. And they were easy vetoes too. I mean, he beat you in the veto. All right, moving on. Meanwhile, we got to take the small victories. But meanwhile, Vinny and Rachel are chatting in the wine room. And Vinny is kissing some major ass here. Vinny says, my biggest regret in this house is getting off on the wrong foot with you. And he says, I'm sorry that it got to the point that it did. I never wanted to be on your bad side, on the wrong side of you. And I'm sorry that I got intimidated by you and I didn't humanize you as a house guest with the rest of us. And he says, I never meant to give the impression that I was targeting you. I mean, like, okay, he never meant to give the impression, but like, he's definitely been targeting her. He just didn't want it to get out there. So he says, I should have talked to you more. And he says, I'm trying to brace myself that it could be my last day in here. But he brings up, Keanu told me that you would consider keeping me in certain voting scenarios. And Rachel is like nodding her head. So Vince is very surprised by this. He's like, oh, that makes me feel good. I wasn't expecting to hear that from you. And Rachel's like, I wasn't either. Do you guys think Rachel would actually keep Vince? So anyway, Vince says he appreciates the consideration, and he says, if I stay and I win HOH and I don't put you up on the block, that's how I can prove to you that we're actually good. And Vince says, if it is my last day in here, it genuinely was an honor playing this game with you, being on this season with you, and I feel like I'm part of the Big Brother family now. He says, I tried and I did my best, and I think that you respect that, right? And he says, I'm not going to make you any promises. I'm not going to BS you. But if I do stay, we'll see what that looks like. I'm going to say that doesn't look great. I mean, yeah, I don't think Rachel is buying this from him. But Rachel says, I do respect that you even approached me and you said all of this. And I feel like I really got to know you better this week. I guess it just took him getting this egg punishment for him to like lighten up a little bit and they could just like chat and have fun. And she says, if you stay, I would like to continue to get to know you more. And Vince is like, I hope you don't think I'm a Weasley piece of crap. Well, Rachel says, no, not at all. I think she does. But anyway, later, Keanu and Ava are chatting in the have-not room. And Keanu is wanting to make sure that if it's a tie, Ava will break the tie in his favor. So Ava says, all right, if I do break a tie for you, and again, this is going against what Mickey asked for, or basically told Ava to do, right? She told Ava, Keanu needs to go no matter what. But Ava's telling Keanu, if I do break a tie for you, the expectation would be maybe don't target me if you win HOH. I mean, that's like a baseline promise, right? Like, if I save your ass, maybe don't target me next week. She didn't even say, don't put me on the block. She said, don't target me. But Keanu's like, of course, I had no intention of doing that. And he tells Ava, I would love to work with you, Mickey, and Will. And Ava's like, oh, okay. And she says, you're a strong guy. I'm not. So having you in my corner would be great. And she says, I'm not mad at that at all. I feel like they should have been having this conversation a few days ago. But Ava says, I'm going to go around. I'm going to ask everybody what they're thinking because I have heard everything under the sun about this vote. Ava, how are you so like, you know, when somebody like feels the pulse of what's going on, she's like the opposite of that. She does not feel a pulse at all. Like, she's not even trying. She's not even putting the fingers on the, she's not. So now she's saying she's going to talk to people, and she says, I'm not really getting the sense from what I'm hearing that there is like a solid house vote this week. And that is true. Like, people are definitely split on this decision. But Keanu says, I think I have 5 votes at the very least. So that would be enough for a tie. He doesn't have these But he lists off who he thinks he has. So he says, okay, the 5 votes that I think are locked in for me. He says Riley, Kelly, Rachel, Ashley, and Vinny if he comes down. He thinks that Vinny is gonna vote for him over his boy Zach. Like, what? Even Ashley is like faltering on keeping Keanu. Kelly is solid for sure. Riley, it depends who Keanu is up next to. And Rachel, she does want to keep Keanu, but he keeps doing dumb shit. But then Keanu says, Mickey also told me that she wants me in this game. Oof. I mean, Mickey lied to you because Mickey is now actively campaigning for Keanu to go, but he doesn't know that. He can't tell that she's lying. So he says, okay, again, at the least, I have 5. At most, I have 7 votes. So Keanu says, I make a great shield, but I'm also a great ally. I can win vetoes to keep you safe. And he tells Ava, I would be honored to use a veto on you. And he tells her, you know where I stand in this game. And Ava's like, yeah, it all sounds great. I don't want to make you any promises. That's not a good sign. But she says, you have every possibility of winning that blockbuster competition and guaranteeing your safety this week. Okay. Meanwhile, Mickey is continuing on her campaign tour. These poor M&Ms are getting tired of being used to run scenarios. And I mean, she's going like weeks ahead and talking about things that are going to happen. And like, if this person is up on the block and they get house guest choice for the veto, they'll pick this person. Like, she's getting into it. And it's too much. I'm exhausted. But she's trying to convince Catherine and Riley to vote out Keanu and keep both Zach and Vince if possible. And she tells them, once we take out Keanu this week, then Rachel, Kelly, Lauren, then at that point, this game is built for us, right? We're just going to coast to the end. Ugh, that would be so bad. Mickey, Riley, and Catherine getting to the end, like, oh my God. No. So then she was also talking about how she would love for the 3 of them to work with Will and Ava moving forward because they only need 5 people to control the votes. I don't want this. Okay. So then Mickey was talking to Kelly about the votes. I have to ask, don't any of these house guests find it concerning that Mickey has been blatantly having tons of one-on-ones with pretty much everybody in this house? Like, everybody in this house. Shouldn't that be a concern for people? She's doing the exact same thing that she had a problem with Jimmy doing just before. But it's okay when she does it. It's wild. But she's getting away with it for now. I don't know when the Mickey Exposed party is going to be. But Kelly says she is keeping Keanu this week no matter who he's up against. She will be voting for him to stay. And she also tells Mickey, if it's Zach versus Vinny, she can be convinced either way. She's not really set on that one. But she does say it's feeling like it's too little too late from Zach. He wasn't really talking game with her at all before. Now all of a sudden he wants to talk to her. But she also says, I feel like Zach is married to Lauren, Morgan, and Mickey at this point. Oh, right. Like, and not in the romantic sense, but like he is working closely with them. And she says, where would I even fit in? You know, I don't want to be just another person in his stable. So yeah, she's not feeling great about Zach, clearly, but Mickey tells Kelly, you know, you're always one of my people, Kelly. I hope you know that. That's a freaking lie. She wants Kelly out of here in the next few weeks. But anyway, moving on. Rachel and Keanu had a chat last night in the wine lounge, and Keanu is trying to get her to keep Vince if it's Vince versus Zach. So he's been doing some campaigning for himself, but he's also been doing so much campaigning to try to keep to try to keep Vince as well this week. I think you should focus on your own stuff, Keanu. Stop campaigning for Vince because Vince would cut Keanu like it's nothing, right? But Keanu is telling Rachel, like, we need to keep Vince. He's better for our games. And Rachel's like, Vinny has already lied to me at least twice in here. I don't want to get burned by him again. And Keanu's like, well, I trust Vinny more than I trust Zach. Zach doesn't owe us anything. Keanu seems to think that Vince owes him for making sure that he was not the renom last week. Because he's like, well, Rachel asks him, do you really think that you're the reason why Jimmy went on the block and not Vince? And Keanu's like, well, I mean, maybe not like completely, but he does bring up how him comparing notes on Jimmy with Mickey and Morgan really like got that in their heads. I mean, he's not wrong. Like, he was definitely influential in that. I don't know if I would give him full credit for it, but he really got the ball rolling there. And he's also saying, like, I've been campaigning a ton for Vince this week. So, like, he's going to owe me if he stays. I don't think Vince is going to see it that way. But Keanu says, I'm playing nice with Mickey right now, but I do see what she's doing. I see how she's playing this game, moving through this house. And he tells Rachel, I want to work with you and Vince to overtake Mickey's group. He says, Morgan is my number one target right now. He is tired of getting burned by her. He wants her to go. So can you imagine if Keanu, Rachel, and Vince actually all were working together? That'd be freaking wild. But Keanu says to Rachel, he keeps assuring her that Vince is not going to target her. He says, if Vinny tells me that he's not going to go after you, he's not going to go after you. Oh, gullible Keanu. So Keanu tells Rachel, you are my number one. Oh my God. I think he's like being genuine about this. I think he actually feels this way. And she's like, I don't know that I believe you. Keanu says he is serious. He admits Riley was his number one. Oof. But he feels like he's losing him to Catherine. And the longer that Catherine's here, the more loyal Riley will be to Catherine and not him. So he's got to jump ship and pick a new number one. So Keanu and Rachel both agree they don't want to be the ones to take a shot at the showmance eventually. But Keanu says that's okay because Vince would do it. Like, this is another reason why you should keep Vince here. And eventually Rachel's just like, look, if you really want to keep Vinny, if it really means that much to you, I'll do it. Would she? I feel like maybe she's just saying this to placate Keanu. But also, it is possible that she would do it because she's realizing the votes are not there to take out Vinny anyway. So maybe I should just vote for him to stay and be on the right side of the vote. And also gain some brownie points with Keanu for doing what he wanted. There is that possibility as well. But Rachel's telling Keanu, you have to win this blockbuster competition in order for that to happen. It has to be Vince versus Zach up on the block because you're going to be in trouble if you don't win that competition. And Rachel tells him, I don't know why I keep giving you chances. Don't F me over. I think he's going to mess it up. I don't know. I think he's going to mess it up. But Keanu is again telling Rachel, you're my number one. And he's like, I think it'd be straight up cool if we made it to the final two together. That would be crazy. I'd be here for it. But the chances of it are just so slim at this point. So Keanu and Kelly have a chat in the storage room. And Kelly says, Rachel told me that she trusts you. What's going on there? And Keanu's like, you know what? I feel the same way about Rachel. I can't explain why, but I trust her. And I don't think that she would actually turn on me. Kelly is not quite there yet with Rachel. Kelly and Rachel have begun talking quite a bit more, but she is still skeptical about her. And Keanu's like, I don't think Rachel would turn on you either. Let her latch on to you. Okay. So Keanu says the three of us, me, you, Rachel, we could really work together. Rachel has the influence. You have the mental stuff. And I have the physical stuff. He says this is the dream team. I would love it. I think it'd be great. Kelly was questioning, like, does Rachel actually have influence? And I'm wondering the same thing because I feel like Rachel is one of the most logical players in there. But people just don't want to listen to her. And it's insane because she has the best game sense of anyone in there. But they're totally ignoring what she has to say. But Keanu's like, no, I've seen her do it. Like, she can get into people's heads and really, like, get them to do stuff. I don't know. But later, Catherine and Riley touch base on the boat. And Riley lets her know that Zach is offering to go up as a pawn next week if one of them wins HOH. Oh, how convenient for Zach to offer to go up on the block when he has a power that he can use to take himself off the block. Would he actually use it if he was in that situation again? Or is he just gonna like leave it like he did this week? Oh my God. But Riley is not into this deal. He thinks it's kind of lame. He says, if I win HOH, I don't need pawns. I'm just throwing people up on that block. I don't care. So Riley says Zach's got to go now because if he stays, he may never go up on the block again. People are just too obsessed with him. They're going to keep him around. So they agree. Their ideal situation would be for Keanu to win the blockbuster competition, have Vince and Zach up on the block, and then they want to vote out Zach. They have been pretty consistent with this all week, except for that one conversation where I saw Riley telling Lauren, like, oh, I love Zach. I want him to stay. Nah, they want Zach to go. So late last night, Zach and Mickey had a chat. And Zach decides to spill about his $10,000 buyout power to Mickey. So prior to this, he had only told Morgan about it. So he's like, all right, I'm going to tell Mickey. I'm going to try and lock her in with this information. Why would this lock her in? This also does not make sense to me, but we'll get into it. So he tells Mickey, I had the opportunity to pull myself off the block this week. But he says, I didn't do it because Morgan would have gone up in my place. I'm still not believing that this is why he didn't use it, but sure. So he's like, I told Morgan about it after the veto ceremony, and I'm telling you about this because if we go up on the block together, I'll be able to use my power, and then only one of us will be on the block. This doesn't make sense because if someone were to put up 3 people from the Melting Pot Alliance, which is Zach, Vince, Morgan, and Mickey. Somebody could easily put 3 of them up there. Zach uses his power. He comes down. And then the person puts up the other member of the Alliance. But he's like, yeah, this will make sure that like there's only ever one of us on the block. What are you talking about? This doesn't make sense. Also, it would not be enticing to me to know that one of my allies can take himself off the block. And then I would have to stay up there. Or he takes himself down and then you go up in his place. How is that a good thing? That's not good. Also, if I was Mickey, I'd be pissed again to hear that Morgan found out about this first and she's just finding out now. Like, it's clearly showing that he's closer to Morgan. But Mickey's just like, oh, yeah, like this sounds great. Zach says if Vince makes it through this week, I'm going to tell him about the power as well so we can all really like use it. And he's saying, I'm willing to sacrifice the $10,000 if that means us 4 stay together in this game. But it wouldn't mean that. I feel like he's being a little bit misleading about this power. Like, he is saying how it works, but he's making it sound like it's much more of a group benefit when it really only is good for him. But Mickey seems to be eating this up. She says, that's fire. I'm not going to tell anybody about it. And again, she's saying she wants to keep both Zach and Vince this week and for Keanu to go. So anyway, today, Keanu, oh my God. The feeds have been down for much of the day for like rehearsals and all that. One thing we saw this morning, Mickey like tripped over the vacuum and fell. She's okay. It was a slow fall. She's fine, but it was funny. It was funny because she fell like immediately after saying, I don't want Rachel on jury. All right. So today, after the feeds came back from one of the like camera blocking rehearsals, Keanu and Rachel are talking. And Keanu is threatening again to throw the blockbuster competition. He's like, oh, I'm thinking about doing something a little reckless and throwing it so that Vince can be safe because he thinks that he would have the votes to stay and he wants to make sure that Vinny stays too. This is insane. And Rachel is telling him, do not do this. If you throw this competition, you're going home. And she tells him, do not throw a competition for some dude that you just met 5 weeks ago. Yeah. Thank you, Rachel. I feel like I'm losing my mind here. I just can't imagine that these people are actually all this bad at this game. Like, how is it possible? It's seeming more likely that we're watching like Jury Duty season 2. Remember Jury Duty where everybody is in on the joke except for the one main guy, and they have everybody do ridiculous things, and then if the guy keeps his cool, like he gets money at the end. That's what I feel like we're watching. Rachel is the main person. Everybody else this season was hired to do dumb stuff. And if she doesn't quit, then she wins. That's what it feels like. Because this just can't be real. Because it's just like one dumb self-sabotaging move after another. I thought that Zach not using his power was going to be the dumb move of the week. I thought people putting up their own allies would be a dumb move, like one of the dumbest moves, but like it just keeps getting dumber. So hopefully Rachel's able to convince Keanu not to throw the competition. But tonight we have the blockbuster competition. One of the nominees will be safe, and we did see a preview of what the competition is going to be. So they have 4 different posts, and each one is a different color. And there are also 4 different color shapes, like these big different shapes. And the colors are yellow, red, green, and blue. There are 3 shapes on each post, but they're all mixed up, right? So you have to move one shape at a time to get all of the same color on the corresponding post. So it's kind of like all those phone games, right? Where you're like, you can only move one at a time to get them on the right posts. So, I mean, it could be anybody's game. It is a puzzle. I swear, if Keanu throws this competition, I'm gonna lose it. I will lose it. Okay, so either Keanu, Zach, or Vince will be leaving tonight. The way that it looks right now, the way that the votes look, Vince, I believe, would be safe no matter what against Keanu or Zach. It seems like Vince has the votes on his side. Keanu, I think, goes home unless he wins the competition. It's not looking good for him. And then Zach, I guess, would go home against Vince, but I think that's it. So, yeah. We'll see how that plays out. HOH competition tonight is supposed to be the wall. I don't know if it's going to be on live feeds or not, because usually before an endurance competition, they will say that it's going to be on the live feeds, but like they haven't said that today from what I've seen. And like last year, we only got to see part of the competition. So like, I don't know. The way things have been going this season, I would not be surprised if it wasn't on feeds, but maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. I hope. But let me know who you guys want to win the wall HOH. I'm scared because these people are out of their minds, but I want to thank you all so much for being here. And I also want to thank our super chatters because you guys are awesome. So Sam Reuter, thank you so much. Sam says, can anyone help can anyone help find my missing friend? Her name is Lauren, and everyone is saying she's in the Big Brother house, but I've been looking everywhere and can't find her. Oh my God, you are so right. Every once in a while, she'll pop up on the live feeds, and I'm just like, oh, you're still here. Yeah, she's keeping it very low key. I keep forgetting too that she was HOH a few weeks ago. I think my brain is just scarred from the indecision and choosing to forget about that. But yeah, she's been very below the radar. Thank you again to Sam. Victoria Smith, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Ilsa Albert, thank you so much for the super chat. And this is their 5th super on a live stream. Woo! You are awesome. Connor Benson, thank you so much. Connor says, for my sanity, I'm not going to get too emotionally invested in this season. That's probably a good idea. If Keanu wants to throw the blockbuster, go ahead. All I can hope for is anyone, to wake up to Mickey's antics. I need Ava and Will to play better. Yeah. It is going to be glorious if Mickey does eventually get called out on how she's been playing and even just how she's been talking to people. It's insane. But I do feel like Ava and Will need to step it up big time because they get presented with all this information and it seems like they realize what they need to do and then they don't follow through on it. Like they're given so much ammo and then they just do nothing with it. So it'd be nice to see them step up. Thank you again to Connor. Josh D, thank you so much. Josh says BB needs an America vote for someone to get a power. They've done it before, and Rachel needs it. Rachel really does need it. And I want to see Mickey and Morgan go nuts thinking Rachel has it. I mean, they would absolutely, everybody would just assume that Rachel has it for sure. And I think she would get it. But I think it would maybe help her in the short term, but I think it's just going to make people want to target her even more moving forward. But it would be interesting to see it. Benjamin, thank you so much. Benjamin says so annoyed with these people. Same. If Zach survives tonight, they may as well hand him the check. Love Ava, but she should have kept Keanu safe. It would have been better for Keanu to stay off the block this week. I totally agree. I mean, she could have put up Morgan with Zach and Vince. She could have put up Lauren. And for some reason, she was just like, it's going to be Keanu because I yelled at him. So, yeah, I think if she was serious about wanting one of those guys out, she should have put up somebody other than Keanu. That was not smart. Shane Wright, thank you so much. Shane says another failed HOH, it seems. Yeah. It started out with such promise. How did we get here? Solo Angel Mom, thank you so much. She says, Maddie, don't you dare let go of my hand. Hashtag save Catherine. Yeah. Apparently, Riley was like chastising Catherine today and telling her, like, never let go of my hand just because somebody else walks in the room. That's too much. I don't like it. And Margaret Kelly, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, manifesting Keanu survival and then Keanu HOH. That'd be great. But also, I don't know if I can trust him. I don't know if I can trust him with an HOH, but I would like him to stay. So we'll see what happens. Thank you all so much for being here. Enjoy your relaxation time before tonight's episode. I will see you all later for the episode recap. And until then, much love. Bye, everybody. Keep your fingers crossed. Bye.